This is Reverend on the homestead. However, I'm not on the homestead. I'm at my daughter's property and we stay with her half of our time. The other half we stay in the RV on the property. And so currently I am in her backyard, and this is where I planted my garden last year. And I planted them in grow bags. And it was a beautiful garden. If I have a picture, I'll put it up in the corner so you can, let me step aside. I'll put it up in the corner so you can see how beautiful it was. At least it was for a minute. And then the bugs came in. And I'm not familiar with a lot of the bugs in Texas and the extreme heat, and there was just a big mess, and I did not really get a lot of harvest. I also planted late in the season, which meant that the heat just really intensified the growth to where it was just not going to happen. But I did end up getting quite a few tomatoes late in the season, but most of them didn't ripen before the first frost. And so it was a failure. I tried a winter garden, and that's what you see behind me. I covered them with plastic to prevent them from getting saturated with the water. And then we had 7 degrees and everything looked like it died out. But I want to show you something that just delighted me yesterday when I came out here, and that is that these beautiful peas that I had growing that looked like they died because they went all the way to the ground, they're actually here. So let me show you that. Look at there. Look at there. Isn't that lovely? They're really starting to go. Now, I had a lot more, and I don't know what's going to happen to them before the season comes up, but I'm very delighted in that. Other things I had growing are over in these regions, but I see some little starter plants. I also saw some lettuce in one of those over there that has just a little tiny one. So even though they didn't make it in the summertime, the winter time, they are starting to come back. A lot of this you see though is just grass that's growing. And then right here is some green onions or chives, and they're doing pretty good too. But they like the fact that they're in this plastic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go plant seeds in the garage. And so I'm going to take you into the garage where I have my grow lights and my seed trays, and we'll see about planting some stuff out there. So here we are in the garage, and there's not much light, so I've opened the garage door so you can see where my growing area is. I have some grow lights that go on about 8 hours a day in order to grow the vegetables that are growing. Now, I did try planting seeds this winter, and I was not successful when the frost hit them because I was growing them out on the backyard. And so I started them in here, and when they were ready, I took them out there. Unfortunately, everything died because of the frost, which got down to 7 degrees. But I did continue to try to grow. But what I've grown here is vegetables from vegetables. I saw that you can grow certain vegetables from other vegetables, and I wanted to see if it worked. So right here, I have celery growing, and I started with just the bottom part of the stalk of celery, which I also have one right here. And you can see where I started it, and now the celery is growing. So we ate the celery, but kept this little bitty part, and now it's regrowing. I did the same thing with the green onions. And these are weak, but these have been cut like 3 different times, and so they're not as strong. These right here are still in the water, and basically we use the green onions, and the little part in the bottom with the roots that we usually toss out, I did not toss them out. I put them in water, and they began growing and regrowing. And so we can continue to have green onions through through whenever. We had green onions all winter long. This right here is romaine lettuce. I don't know if that's romaine or not actually, but it's a form of lettuce. And this right here is romaine lettuce, and it is regrowing itself as well. And so that's super fun. And then here's another celery stalk that got started after that one. And this one is just barely starting, but it's starting to come up. And so this is quite fun to do. And you'll be able to see that they don't really get much root going on, a couple little things, but they just regrow until you're ready to put them in the pots. These are grow bags, and so I have these plastic lids that I set down from the big tubs that had broke in order to catch the water, because the water will seep down into there. But I also have this lower level tray, and I don't know if you can see this, but it also has grow lamps inside there. And these are for starting seeds as well. But if we wanted to do like lettuce or something, we start them in here. They have these plastic lids. All of these have plastic lids in order to create the humidity. So you water them, there's humidity going on. You adjust the humidity with these little tiny plastic turn thingies. And so anyway, what I'm going to do now is, since I was unsuccessful to get the winter garden going, it's February, mid-February now, so it's time to start the summer crop and things that are going to come in late spring. We're going to grow them for 3 to 4 weeks from seed in here in these little containers, and I got lots more containers too. I'm going to move these green onions and the celery that's in these pots to the backyard underneath the canopy of plastic and hope that they survive out there. And then this will just be a growing section. In 4 to 6 weeks, we will take the seedlings, we'll plant them in those planters outside. The weather should be perfect then. And some of them we're going to take to the property, and we're going to grow those in wicking baskets or wicking tubs. And they call them self-watering tubs. I've watched lots of YouTube videos, and I think because the property doesn't have any running water, that's the most efficient way to be able to do the crops on the property. And since we're here half of the time, it's better for us to have something that's going to be able to withstand the summer heat, and the wicking buckets seem to be the best way to go. Now out in the backyard, I have a whole drip system with a timer, and so we don't have to worry about the backyard here. Even if we're gone for weeks, it will still continue to water with the timer. And so anyway, that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to get those little seedlings out and get the table all set up, ready to plant the seeds, and I'll bring you along and see how this goes.